it is a wonderful morning right from plot 19, Weatherhead Park Lane. That's in Arua City, where our headquarters are located. And really, I hope you had a wonderful night. It's now a great pleasure having you on board. That is starting off your day with the Kokoliriko live show. And this is where we do give you what is making rounds in the world of current affairs. And remember, so many things did happen. And today is a Thursday, I must say. Also, it is the last day in the month of February. And I know this must also be coming with both excitement and anxiety. Also, fear is also there among some people. More so those who have not yet paid their rent arrears. And this is where they also be fearing now that their landlords are going to come to them and start demanding them really. And the other people are not happy about this month, because it always has, that is 28 or 29 days, and really that also comes with fears of them also not wanting to pay maybe their landlords. And really, I must say, you're most welcome, and so many things are happening. Really, in some information I hope they're also giving you later on in the show is the upgrade of Arua Airport, that is to also international airport level. That was something which we did see yesterday, where an MOU was signed between who. I hope they'll also be telling you that later on the show. And remember, on the show right now, I'm joined by, that is Hilal Nassim. He is the City Election Supervisor for FDC in Arua City. And we are going to be discussing issues related to the Forum for Democratic Change. That is a party that once enjoyed being vibrant, that is as the main leading opposition party for quite some time, where we did see them in most of the elections turning up as the runners-up, and really also at one time also claiming that they actually won. They will be able to say explaining that to us later on. But really, first things first, if I can be able to really enjoy, introduce, that is Hilal Nassim, to also really tell us more about him. But first things first, introduction, really, if you can be able to sort of introduce himself to you, the viewer, that will be quite good. You're most welcome, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, my dear listeners. My name is called Hilal Nassim Majotia, the FDC Election Supervisor for Arua City. And it is a pleasure that we meet today, this morning in Kokoliriko. We hope that the show is going to be very enjoyable. Wow,
that is it. Really, if I'm now to introduce the show, really, so many things have been going on that is in the FDC camp, that is between the Najana Nkumbi and Katanga, the Katonga group, where so many things are being said here and there. Really, I don't know where that puts the Forum for Democratic Change at. Really, if I may be able to ask, maybe because some people are now saying some of the instrumental members of that is behind the formation of the Forum for Democratic Change have really moved to one of the groups, and now they're working with one of the groups. They are not like how they used to work together, because really, if you did understand the slogan of that is the Forum for Democratic Change, one Uganda, this is not happening. Now we are seeing two people and then two Uganda, maybe because we are seeing the Katonga and the Najana Nkumbi block. Where do we see this maybe putting, that is the Forum for Democratic Change, in the 2026 elections, which is not very far, as we are seeing so many of the political parties are now reorganizing themselves, and notable among them is actually the National Resistance Movement, which we did see yesterday also launching their registrar update, where they're also going to be doing a lot of, in terms of recruiting new members, also really streamlining of their new voters. According to information we did get, this is said to be also really upgrading their members' status, so that they do not really also get people who are there to really be there as jokers. They do not want to see also people who are coming to really understand their weaknesses. That is one thing that the party secretary also did say yesterday. And really, I don't know how prepared the FDC is for the same. You will be able to sort of tell us more. But really, first things first, if we are to be able to start with the wrangles that is between the Katonga and the Najana Nkumbi, and I do understand that most of the people that is within Western Sub-region are affiliated to, that is the Najana Nkumbi block, and you will also be explaining that. If I'm wrong, you will be able to sort of tell us that really, if we not really also waste more time. Really, where do these conflicts maybe put the Forum for Democratic Change when it comes to 2026, and how prepared are you to really also ensure that you put these differences aside, such that we may be able to bounce back as the main leading opposition party that is come 2026?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I need to put it correctly. We don't have two blocks as such. This is not formed in terms of blocks. FDC is one people, one Uganda. That is the motto. This is the first thing I want to put is that way. Two, Najana Nkumbi is the headquarters of the party. That is actually registered in the registrar. That FDC headquarters is at Najana Nkumbi. Two, when we come to the mention of Katonga group, and then Katonga group is just a group of people who are members of FDC, or others are choosing to be no longer a member of FDC as such. It is their freedom, it is their choice to make it that way. So FDC is one, with the headquarters at Najanakumpi. Two, Katonga, a group of people, as I already said earlier, for one reason or another, chose to refer to themselves as Katonga Group. So, for the first time, they are responsible for their being called Katonga Group. But as far as our party is concerned, these are people who actually did express some issues concerning party as such, which was the reason for being in that group. Of course, their main objective was to regroup themselves and maybe to dislodge the leadership.
But if I may be able to really shortly interrupt, these are instrumental members who are behind the formation of the Forum for Democratic Change. If I'm to mention leaders, and most of them actually people who are, I must say, are very influential. For instance, Lord Mayor, he is one of those who that is seen to be instrumental. And we are scared. Are we going to be seeing the formation of a new political party out of FDC, just like how we have seen it happening maybe with the rest of the political parties?
Well, when you are very much instrumental in forming the party or behind forming the party or a party member, what actually now remains there is that you to stand the trial of the time. Because not everybody is that who embarks on a wagon will reach the destination. For one reason or another, you find the person either evicting himself or being evicted by circumstances surrounding the struggle as such. So some of these people actually have got their personal ambitions. In their personal ambitions, achieving those ambitions through the formal channels, through democratic means, through whatever the system must have set itself to affect such changes or to achieve such ambitions, they realize that they could not make it through normal means. That's why they resorted to some of those chaotic ways of trying to achieve their dreams as such. If we take them, Elias Lukago, Dr. Kiza Besige, and others, all this and that, it is their own weaknesses that have made them actually to go that way. Because as I told you, standing the trial of the time is not an easy thing, because many are frustrated because of the situation in the country, because when we took the electoral system in Uganda as such, the ground is not leveled, and as such, when you fail the test of the time, then you begin looking for scapegoats here and there. Two, some of these things are by design, by external forces who act with their agents from within the party, to disorganize the party. That could be the strategy of actually trying to break FDC. So they look at such personalities who are very ambitious and who would like to achieve their personal dreams at any cost, whether it is at the expense of the party, it's at the expense of the public, or this and that one. So this is actually what exactly is happening
Yes,
with those people.
Yes,
and then when we now talk of the formation of another party or a new party, such as example of these ones, okay, these people have got three options. One, to come back home to the party, FDC, at Najanakumpi. Two, join any other party that is in existence. Three, form their own party. So it is all up to them to choose whichever is now befitting to their zeal, to their wishes. So that is actually the situation in which they are. So,
if I may be able to ask, where do these divisions put the voter who is very much lenient to the Forum for Democratic Change Party? Are we going to see them not moving away, or this also could be able to have its own negative impacts on the party itself?
It's a very important question where the voters are, because the voters are looking forward to those leadership, and of course it will be very much frustrating to many of them to see that the party is in that way. But I would like to assure you and the viewers that since the start of this, I could call it some of these political skirmishes from time to time when it started, or yes, the voters were questioning themselves, but at the same time, these voters are very intelligent enough to see for themselves and to ask some questions here and there, and they could get the correct answers as to why such and such a thing is happening. The evidence is clear that the last FDC National Delegates Conference, which was organized, and the elections that were organized also, in which we participated, it was overwhelming. Out of 150 districts, we had 130 that turned up for the election very massively. So this is a clear sign that voters are aware of what is happening, and they already knowing why the reasons are like that. Because it was expected that that conference would not take hold. They tried through cheap propaganda, through courts, through and that one, but all failed. So this is a clear sign that FDC is still okay with its voters, with its supporters on ground.
So before we head into the break, there's this one question that has always been there among the public. They have been saying FDC, I want to treat it as a rumor. You forgive me if I really also offend you about it. They have been saying FDC and some parties have actually been used by the ruling government. I don't know how true that one is. Maybe you also really throw more light, if in case you can define maybe about it, as we head into the short commercial break, because the issue about malls has always been there. Are we seeing this not being manifested in the minds of the public? Because now the public about these fights really has been also raising questions here and there. I don't know what you can say about that as we plan to head for our first break of the show.
The issue of those suspicions, malls here and there, there's ever been there. And then I think the time has proved that there were people who were in FDC and not for the FDC as such, and the time has shown that by their own exit of the party as such. Two, the question of whether the party is being used, or this party and the others are being used by NRM or by the ruling party, by the government, to disorganize or to frustrate Ugandans as such. These are some of the wishful talks by some other people in order to discredit the opposition party. Yes, what we cannot dismiss is that in each and every setup there are certain elements, because security is a reality as such. Certain elements may exist here and there, and through these elements that some of the enemies of the party will try to disorganize or to fail and to frustrate the party. Such will happen not only with the FDC as such, but with the other party, even including within the NRM themselves, because they're a bunch of collection of people for their personal interests, just under the hegemony of one figure that is actually the guarantor of the party as such, of the NRM. So, which was not the case with FDC as such, because FDC, you can see that it's not the question of godfather of a party. Okay, let's take Kizza Besigye. That is very simple. We really know that he did a lot, contributed to a lot, all this and that one. But now, when he was caught up in this awkward situation, people were able to see for themselves, to judge for themselves whether he was right or not. You do not take him or hold someone as a godfather to think that everything coming out of his mouth is 100% correct. So people manage to distance themselves from those what the trade he was actually he's pursuing with some others. So the issue of the party as such is not the question of being in bed with the ruling party, with the government, or this and that one. These are cheap commodities that can be sold easily to discredit anyone. Because just in a simple way, when you use such a thing to tarnish an energy, thinking that people will completely respond to you, to see to it that, it is true, this one is happening, definitely you realize that people are wise enough to see for themselves that what you are saying is for your own personal gains. So that's actually the situation in which FDC is with its supporters. We are not being used by any party as such, as claimed by others.
Okay, as we are heading into the first break, I must say the issue of political parties wanting to get genuine voters is what is happening, and that is the reason as to why NRM actually did roll out the update of the registrar yesterday. And one reason the party secretary actually did say is that this exercise aims at that is also getting the rightful voters, not those who are come with the other intentions, and these intentions have also been manifested, and just like what the FTC supervisors said, really also at times people come to these parties not for the right reasons, and the NRM actually has said this. At times people come to the NRM party just because they want to come and identify the weaknesses, and at times they give the party flags, that is to the weak opponents that's within the party, so that opposition parties can also take advantage of that. And really with that, we come to the first break of the show, and this is still the Kokoliriko live show, and we are continuing with you up to the hour of 9 a.m. Please notice that dial as we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
First Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is the Kokoliriko live show, and we are continuing with you up the hour. My name, I still do have the FDC personnel in the house as we are discussing affairs within the political party that once enjoyed being the leading opposition party in the country until the recent, that is last concluded 2021 general elections, where they did lose this pride to the new National Unity Platform Party. And I don't know how they are doing and really what strategies they are laying that is towards regaining this pride that was really one that was identifying itself with FDC, which was really something I must say was quite good. And really this Western sub-region is also another region that actually did offer the fertile grounds to this party here. I don't know how they're doing to really maintain this, and maybe some of the strategies you can be able to also explain to us what they're doing to ensure that they bring back the voters that affiliate to the Forum for Democratic Change party back to the grounds. Because really with the divisions, I really believe some people may opt to really also want to move out. I don't know what strategies you are doing to really maintain these party members and also really ensure that they continue believing in the ideology of the Forum for Democratic Change party.
Thank you very much. Actually, with the division as has been told trouble, which happened and is happening, I can assure you that most of those who actually went to Nigeria Kumbi are back at the headquarters under the leadership of Patrick Boy Amuriat and the Secretary General Nandala Mafabi. They are there already. They have already come back. Two, because some of them thought that they could make some changes within party by those moves. So since they realized that maybe motives of some of the people were different, and then they had to come back, with the exception of one or two MPs that have already come back to the party as such. So FDC, right, since we concluded the recent elections, we elected to office, the office bearers, the party leadership put upon itself that one, to seriously work on reorganizing the party by moving from one district to another. This actually is ongoing. The second point here is that the party, since, let me say, around the first week of this month, started the exercise of updating the membership or registering the members in all the districts. That was ongoing. And secondly, the party has also backed on the identification of its candidates for various elective positions, which is ongoing, and the first phase of it may come and end with the end of the month. So this is actually what is already been put in place by the party as such. And the party actually leadership pledged that particularly in areas where some structures were not complete due to those issues that were raised by some of the party members, they are trying to address them, and they are being addressed. So to be given another time for them to restructure themselves in those various structures of the party in various districts. So the party as such is moving on well as planned, preparing itself for 2026 elections. So actually, in most of I can say that the candidates have already been identified. They have already submitted their forms.
So meaning, should we take it that FDC is at the right course, and then maybe in terms of preparations for the 2026 general elections, should we say that is it? Or we are still seeing the loopholes trying to drag down the party here and there?
No, FDC is on the right track, moving on, and what it is to address are just normal things which have not been covered here and there. But otherwise, we are no longer being moved with these noises that are being made by some circles and by those that Nigeria Kumbi said. As I told you, those who went to Katonga, they are already coming back, with a few who say that they are not coming back under the current leadership. And that's all. So FDC is actually well prepared. The members are well prepared. The members on the ground, they have already understood why all those divisions, why all those noises being raised. So there's no worry as to FDC, its preparation and preparedness for the upcoming elections.
If you are to really make an observation of these factions that have been created, that is the Katonga and the Najanankumbi blocks, you realize that these actually have certain people that they work with. If you look at the Najanankumbi block, you realize that they like to work there as some certain group of people, and then you move to the Katonga. You also realize that there's some group of people that are working under this faction here. What is really that cause, and then maybe why could it be happening that way? If you have to really also make an assessment of these parties going on. I don't want to be a bit sectarian, but that is something I must say is being observed.
Okay. The party, as I told you, there is no faction called Najanankumbi faction.
You are disowning it.
Najanankumbi is the party headquarters. Najanankumbi is where the elected leaders are. Najanankumbi is where the business of the party are being transacted. And Katonga is, I could put it clearly that this a group of rebels, okay, who moved there. So it is, for example, a rebel movement or a guerrilla in the bush. We can't talk of it, a government there at State House at Kevin, then a government somewhere maybe in the bush, ABCD. So this was totally is out of question. We don't have such a thing as such. But what we can say, yes, whenever some voice comes, there are people who listen to those own voices, and there are who take it seriously. There are those who listen to it and disregard it as such. Okay. Uganda has been moving through a trend of some sense of sectarian affiliations manipulated by certain elements, certain leaders in Uganda. That has been the most unfortunate thing. And there are, let me put it this way. When NRM captured power, though the leader doesn't want to say it that way, indeed they captured the power. When they captured the power, a straight line was drawn, splitting Uganda into two, north and the south. And north was being referred to those who mismanaged the country. Now the south is showing how the country is to be managed. So those trends, those thinkings are within certain circles are there. Let me give you an example. A cadre was telling me, and another cadre was telling me, when they went for political brainwashing, or what they call orientation in Najanankumbi, Chankwazi, they were told, hey, you had already eaten yours, what do you want now here? So you can now see that connotation given by that saying, who are you? You had already eaten yours, and what do you want to hear? Who is that person, and why not? Why is it that way? You see, these are trends within Ugandan hopeless politics. These ones are happening. So these are some of the things. Bitter word truth. That one is happening within our communities, because there are some people who think that leadership should always come from a certain geographical area, a certain clan, or whatever the case may be. There are some those who. So
is it the same case we are seeing what is happening under the Forum for Democratic Change conflict?
Well, I may not say per se as such this is what is gone there, but it may be used as one of the ingredients in order to fuel up such a trend of division.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then maybe finally, what message do you have that is for those who still believe in the Forum for Democratic Change ideology? What are you really telling them as their mouthpiece, as somebody who is from this sub-region? And really, if you do not, if you really make an assessment, you realize that West Nile sub-region, as Northern Uganda entirely, has been very much leaning to, that is the opposition, main opposition party has actually been the Forum for Democratic Change. Really, we also did see this happen. Even in the 2021 general elections, FDC still managed to raise more numbers from this sub-region. What message do you have for these voters, maybe those who may still be affiliated to the Forum for Democratic Change, but for one reason or the other, now they are losing the trust, or maybe also fearing now for maybe their votes or for other reasons?
Well, my message to the members is very clear. One, FDC is still committed to its objectives and goals through the means stipulated in the constitutions. FDC is still a formidable party in the country.
With the same slogan yet?
With the same slogan, one Uganda, one people. That is actually what we are fighting for, and it should still continue. Two, I'm assuring the members, the voters of the party in entire West Nile that it is true that a massive effort is being put by our opponents to see to it that this support for FDC in West Nile is actually fought by all means. So we are saying that please, we come together, we push forward as we've been pushing, and in fact more than ever before, and we're in a better position. You must very well know that this party, the NRM party, actually, they are aware of themselves that it already engulfed in corruption, greed, and nepotism. This was said by their party leaders. Actually, it is public now that. So the hope is FDC as the party that can replace all these with the genuine governance. It is only the party that can do. You can see clearly that in its internal ranks as such, but through the system, through the process to which they agreed, things went as stipulated in the laws of the party and the constitution of the party. So we are still on the move, and you are the ones to make that the party achieves its objectives. We know that the ground is not level. We know that it is an uphill task as such, but we have to do. That is what it means to struggle in order to achieve what you want to achieve. Because it is not going to be an easy silver plate as such. You want to be allowed to do that one. The intimidations here and there, corruption and monetization and propaganda. All this is commercialization of the policy. These were all the tools that are going to be used, because the fact is that by design, West Nile is poor. So, because that one makes it easy for a manipulator to manipulate. This is actually what is happening, but our people have been able to resist all this, and you have already seen for yourself where changes have happened by replacing MPs with the ruling. You have already seen for yourself what is happening in the region. So it is now a very good lesson that we can now actually change that trend and come back to where we were before and move forward.
Okay, maybe how can that one person who believes under the Forum for Democratic Change ideology help him or herself, and also help the party, maybe in terms of regaining this glory that was once enjoyed, that is being the leading opposition party group that is in the entire Uganda? What should they do to really help themselves and help the party also at large?
Well, stand firm for what you believe in. Secondly, dismiss any fears, because now what the culture of fear is now actually being employed by the ruling regime in order to see to it that people abandon their own worlds. Two, people must be cautious of themselves, of their surroundings, and of some of these petty things that are happening here as a sign of magnanimity by the ruling class, but they are actually meant to lure them to the wrong side as such. People must take notice of all those things. Two, we need to come together. We need to come together, and we need to be confident of ourselves that we can do. Yes, we can do what others can do, but we can do in a better way, not that in a fraudulent way as such. This is what actually I want from my people, our members of the Forum for Democratic Change, and others who actually looked upon FDC as the hope that could actually save the country from collapsing, from disintegrating, from moral decay, that actually in which we are already there. So that confidence must be strengthened more and more, and we need to push harder and harder in order to gain back our country into the hands of the people. We need to work to see to it that the guns that are being used for terrifying us shall be used to defend us as a nation, not to defend a regime, not to defend one family, not to defend one person, one individual, to hold every citizen hostage as such. So this one's what we're supposed to work in. We know that these are things sometimes come through sacrifice, and the sacrifice is a necessity when you want to achieve freedom.
All right, that is Hilal Nassim. He is the city elections supervisor for Forum for Democratic Change Party in Arua City. And really, I hope you did have a wonderful time. That is also making an assessment of what is happening within the Forum for Democratic Change, because you could be really hearing maybe it out there, but you have not heard from that is the horse's mouth. And I believe he has elaborately also explained to you what is happening and maybe some of the strategies that they have laid as a party. And really, if you can have your last words as we come to a close of this discussion, because really we are remaining with some few minutes to summarize this discussion. Your last words maybe to the viewer, also maybe...
Actually to the viewers and what let me say, the public generally, is that the FDC is in the process of identifying its candidates at various levels, and you know who is the right person who can serve. Please, and you come forward and declare yourself for that positions through your district election supervisors in various districts and sub-counties, and you can approach the officers concerned to do this and that one. Two, we also tell the general public that FDC is open for every Ugandan, because we believe in the slogan, one Uganda, one people. So please, we are one Uganda, one people. Karibu kwa FDC. FDC is the party that will only take you to the promised land, as promised, and we still for that mission, and we shall be doing that one diligently. And we also ask the general public that you have the commodities on the market. I think you are able to see now which one is the right to buy, which one is the right to take, and I'm quite sure that you have already seen that FDC, despite all these challenges, is still as it is. And FDC is the party you can rely on. It's a party to reckon with. That's why you hear all these noises about it. In fact, one of our elders told you that if someone does not envy you, then you are useless. If someone does not talk of you being doing this and that one, then you don't matter. Actually, that's why you matter, because they say this and that one, in order to see to break you. So all this one is because FDC is as strong as ever before.
Okay, that really summarizes that discussion in relation to FDC, and I must say it is a great pleasure having you on board, and I must say thank you so much for coming through and also talking to the viewers in terms of sharing also ideas, maybe also information that is related to the Forum for Democratic Change Party that has really been going through a lot of turmoil in the recent days. But I hope this will also really come to pass, and then we may also see the party reignited and also see it rejuvenated with a lot of strength, a lot of courage, and so that can also become like vibrant how it used to be. For instance, in the 2011 and 2006 elections, and the rest that we did witness in this country. I must say it's really a great pleasure having you on board, and really we still have lots more now to keep on discussing. And yesterday I must say something that really also came with excitement, and I believe most of you did not actually expect this, and that is the appointment of former Vice President Gilbert Bukenya as presidential advisor. That is in terms of that is in charge of that is environment and sanitation. And really this also really yielded a lot of comments, because Gilbert Bukenya has been that silent ever since he lost his seat as a member of parliament for that is Busiro. And so many things have been said, I really know, in the public domain, and who exactly Gilbert Bukenya is. Somebody may be asking, and he is he's a Ugandan politician and physician who was 7th Vice President of Uganda, that is from May 23rd, that is until 2003, until May 23rd of 2011, that is when he was dropped. And really he represented the constituency of Busiro County North in the Ugandan Parliament since 1996. And really I must say now, so many people are asking themselves, who exactly is Gilbert Bukenya and where has he been? But really I know the president actually yesterday did appoint him now in charge of environment and sanitation. Really we have so many things, and I must say this is something good, because he is going to act as a presidential advisor. He's going to join the rest of the presidential advisors, and we expect him now to advise the president, because at times also we hear people say it is the president who instead advises the presidential advisors. I don't know how true that one is, but really we do not know about it. It is what people also think, because really we are there as the mouthpiece of the people. And we now expect him to also really serve to the best, and really also give the president the best advice in terms of the environment. Remember, our environment has been also being hit by a number of challenges. For instance, those who settle in the wetlands, you have really been doing a disservice to this country by also really creating environment havoc, where we have seen our environment becoming unbearable. That is where also we are seeing changes in climate, which have all been attributed to some of these activities that are not being that have not been favorable to the environment. For instance, man's activities. For instance, as I told you, settling on these wetlands has been identified as a challenge. And also tree cutting, and really we now expect him to give the president the right advice and also really the right guidance when it comes to issues of environment, because environment issues have really been a great concern, and really that is also one thing we must appreciate, and that is congratulating him for. And really, because really also being appointed, it takes a milestone. It means that the president has seen something in you that really also he feels that you will be able to really serve and also really see to it that you guide him here and there. That is why we also say congratulations to him, and now we expect him also really to give the president the best advice, and we have to maintain our environment, because the environment is the best thing. And if we really do not take proper care of it, then at the end of the day, it is also going to negatively impact on us. And once we start seeing negative implications of the environment, definitely it is man who really suffer the most of this. And really with that, we come to a closer of the first hour, and we want to say thank you so much from wherever you chose to watch us, and really also those who shared your comments, we do appreciate them. And we say asante sana. We are still continuing with the show up the hour of 9 a.m. and more. We still have lots of issues to discuss here and there, and later on in the evening of the show, we shall also be giving you information in relation to sports and what is happening in the world of sports. We also do have that. And remember, plans to upgrade the Arua International Airport to the Arua Airfield to an international airport are already underway, where we did see an MOU signed yesterday, and I will be telling you who exactly signed the MOU and between which companies and who is going to be the developer. I will also really be throwing some light into that. For now, let me first run for a short commercial break, and when I return back, I still do have lots more for you. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, we are 3 minutes after 8 a.m. You're most welcome back from the short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko live morning updates with me, Farish Majid, and this is where we also give you information that is happening maybe in the corridors of current affairs, and that is one reason you need also not to miss the show, because definitely this is also where you get to know information of what is happening in West Nile sub-region, because east or west, home is best, and this is one reason also why we also give time for us to make analysis of what is happening way back in West Nile sub-region. And I must say, so many things are happening in this sub-region, but I will also be telling you of what is happening, and exactly that is one reason also you need not to miss the show. So the International Criminal Court has ordered jailed former LRA commander, that is Dominic Ongwen, to pay, that is about $54.4 million US dollars, approximately, that is to 223.7 billion Ugandan shillings, to the victims for the atrocities committed by the commander during the LRA insurgency in northern Uganda. Remember, so many things happened during this, that is insurgency, that was really undertaken by the LRA, the Lord Resistance Army group, which was really northern Uganda, where we did see the entire north destabilized, where until up to date, where we still have some people demanding for their compensation from government, where they have been staging protests and making demands for government to compensate them. That is in relation to the atrocities that the rebel group that committed in the northern Uganda under the guidance, that is, of Joseph Kony, where we did see this going on and on. We have also seen the negative impacts up to happening more so in the Choli sub-region, Lango, and not forgetting entire northern Uganda, for instance, West Nile sub-region, where we did see our business community losing a lot of their property that is in hands of this rebel group that was really terrorizing the entire north. And really, this is something I must say has been happening. And the children of this LRA militias are also facing challenges, that is in terms of accessing the schools and other facilities. This has also been raised, that is in the Acholi sub-region, and I must say these atrocities have now been labeled against Ongwen. I don't know where he will be able to get that amount of money. If you really look at that, is 223.7 billion Ugandan shillings. I don't know where he will be able to really also assess and get that money in terms of also maybe paying for the victims, because he has so many crimes levied against him, and I must say he has over 70 crimes, and this is really something I must say. The crimes have been really levied against him, but really one one crime I cannot forget being levied against him is murder, because they kill a lot of people. Really, I must say this is something that really we cannot exclude talking about him, and that is one thing also really is happening, and that is also why we must be able to know of what is happening. And then moving on, Parliament, the executive clash over government agencies merger, that is something also we are seeing here, and really I must say it is still going on because government has plans to merge some of these agencies that have been almost doing more or less the similar activities to really make them and formulate one entity, and which to me was really quite good, because if you have to really look at how government has been wasting a lot of taxpayers' money in terms of paying people who are doing more or less the same kind of work, definitely this merge is just something that we have to really embrace and welcome. I must say that is just something we are seeing here. And now a section of members of parliament that is have accused the executive doing a shoddy job in preparing of rationalization and merging of its agencies and exposing loopholes they say could undermine the much needed public sector reform. And this is something also we are seeing here. And these concerns emerged after Parliament's ICT committee blocked the dissolution and the National Information Technology Authority Uganda, abbreviated as NITA, whose roles government had proposed to be taken over by the Ministry of ICT. And really the legislators, if you really look at what is happening in NITA is actually one entity that has been solely responsible for, that is issuing out national IDs and other certificates. For instance, the death certificate, we have seen NITA doing that, and the legislators have now rejected that resolution to actually bring NITA under Ministry of ICT. So I think that is something, and so many of these entities are supposed to be merged. If you have to really look at UNIRA and Ministry of Works, I believe this merge could actually perfectly work there. And in its report, the committee urges that the authority performs unique duties not done by any other government entity and earns the state considerable revenue, contrary to reasons advanced by the executive for its abolition. And that is something that we are seeing here on the papers. And I must say, this is one thing we are still following up on until we want to see how these government agencies are going to be merged and what it takes for really these agencies also to be brought together. And the government has argued that the restoration of select agencies aims at cure duplication of roles and cut down the financial drain on its resources and burden of wasteful administration and expenditure. But really, before government also really creating these more entities, did the government also really knew that, couldn't it foresee that these are going to have an implication on the taxpayers' money? Definitely, I do not know about that. But I must say, we are still following up on that, and we want to make an assessment of maybe what it takes for government actually to ensure this merging of these agencies takes place once and for all, because we want to see taxpayers' money being spared. Instead of paying more people also really, because all of these people have priorities, also have their ambitions, where government also has to fulfill a lot when it comes to preparing these agencies. And a lot of government money is wasted onto this. So I think at the end of the day, this also has its implications on the final taxpayer, who is actually one who needs these resources. So I think instead of this money is going into paying this or buying the resources for the public, they also go into wasteful expenditure, that is for paying these agencies or maybe these people who are in these offices. But I must say also, on a sad note, we are going to be seeing so many people losing their jobs. That is where we are going to be seeing these agencies also having its negative repercussions, because at the end of the day, we are going to be seeing those who cannot be able to accommodated into the entity are going to bow out, are going to be left out. So I think it's also going to have its own negative repercussions, maybe on those who are currently working under these agencies. So I think that is something we are following out on. And on Tuesday, the State House, and on Tuesday this week, the House threw out 9 bills over absence of proper certificates of financial implications. And prior to tabling, President Museveni had held meetings with NRM Parliamentary Caucus, whose majority numbers we are expected to enable uninterrupted passing of the laws. And President Museveni has consistently supported the process that he says will save government shillings 1.1 trillion annually, and that is something also really that would also really be good in terms of if these agencies were really merged. And what are other members of parliament saying? On Wednesday, Bugweri County lawmaker Abdul Katuntu tasked government to publicize the study that informed the rationalization process. So I think that is also quite good, and really we expect it to also really be yielded. And Parliament Speaker Anita Mong was, however, emphatic that the House is not opposed to the mergers, indicating they only want the executive to do a thorough job. And really also that is something that we are yet following up on. And I must say, we shall be able to really let you know of what happens. And that is one reason also you need not to be left out. And now moving on, Ministry of Works and according to information from Ministry of Works and Transport, Arua Airport is to be developed into an international airport under build, operate and transfer model. And the feasibility study is to be undertaken by a private investor known as Miss East of Eden, and really we want to see this, because really if this happens, and then we also really have to ensure that we see the development. And through a post on X, that is according to the X, that is handle of the Ministry of Works and Transport, General Katuma Wamala yesterday signed an MOU with the investor and following an approval by the Solicitor General, because this has really taken a long period of time. And at one time we also did see the President responding to this, and so many people were asking questions. The Hoima International Airport is being developed, and what is happening to the Arua International Airport? And I must say now that the ministry has signed an MOU, we are going to maybe see this developed. And once it is developed, it's going to come with a lot of opportunities. First of all, we are going to be seeing those big planes landing here, and then there's going to be market for the hotels maybe who are going to be established within the area. And I must say this is quite good. And because really, if you look at the compensation bit of it, I do understand that most of the compensation part has been done. And actually, some of the people had already vacated where this expansion is going to be taking place, and they were paid, and most of them have actually left. And the Airfield Authority has actually fenced most of these areas, except a few which are yet to be also brought on board. So I think this is quite good, because at the end of the day, we saw the terminal being constructed at a terrible speed, and after the construction of the terminal, so many people were expecting this facility to be working by now. But up to now, I must say, nothing had been going on. But now the excitement must come to our faces, because this is now going to be taking place, maybe kickstarting very soon after a feasibility study that is to be conducted. And at the end of the day, we expect this facility really to be that is going to raise our flag very high. Because if you really look at Arua International Airport, we are bordered by 3 countries, and somebody may be asking which one is the third one. Central African Republic is not very far from that is Arua City. So I think we will be able to have direct flights that could also maybe take us from Arua City to that is the Central African Republic. We could also see flights taking place that is Arua International Airport, also going up to that is maybe Kinshasa or also other parts of DRC. And then we could also see aeroplanes that could fly from Arua International Airport up to Juba, which will really be quite good, because at the end of the day, government is going to make money from this, and then people who would want to travel are also going to take small period of time, that is in terms of traveling. And really, I don't know what you think about that. If this development really, is it quite good? We are yet to be following, and we are yet to be following this, and yet also to let you know of what happens. And really, in case of any development in line to the development of this airport, really, that is one reason also you need not to miss the Kokoliriko live show each and every mornings. That is from Mondays to Fridays, and today is the Thursday, the second last edition for this week. And really, we started it off with the discussions in relation to that is the Forum for Democratic Change Party. And really also that is something that we are yet to summarize that discussion with. And moving on, a 21-year-old fraudster arrested for attempting to dupe Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Really, you wonder, a 21-year-old person. This person is still believed to be very young. You're not old by 21 years old. And I must say, you are not maybe that very old adult. But really, you want to dupe the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. I don't know what some people are really up to, youths more so. And really, I think there's a lot of money also in this kind of fraudulent activities. But really, you want to dupe a Deputy Speaker of Parliament. I don't think if you can be able to really also survive, and that is something I must also really caution the young people about. And now a shadow look locked into the halls of power, a young phantom that is weaving tales of who agreed to a 21-year-old con artist donned the masks of innocence, spinning webs of deceit, and ensure the unsuspecting behavior of him really also wanting to that is dupe the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, that is Thomas Tayebwa. really, this is something I must say is quite sad. It is really quite weird. We are really also going to be seeing this. And his first target, the esteemed Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayeba, to a wolf in sheep's clothing approach. Tayeba clocked in borrowed identity of government minister's daughter. Really, this is something that really is quite good, bad. Why do you want to lie? Just because you want to really also get something maybe for yourself. But this also goes back to government. How are we involving the youths in terms of these poverty eradication drives that we continue to talk about? Because really, if you have to look at so many gospels that are being sung by the politicians, more so about the parish development model, we really see the ideology of government wanting to elevate the poverty levels among these young people. But really, when you go on ground, how much are we involving the youth? That is the question now that we should be asking ourselves as stakeholders, as maybe government officials, because at the end of the day, it is the youths who are really going to be going through a lot. Because once we do not engage them, I must say, then they are going to also be engaging in certain of these activities that may be very bad. So I think that is how we want to summarize that discussion with. And I must say, Museveni yesterday launched, that is the NRM update, and that is the registrar that is for the voters. Really, that means if you want to vote for the NRM party in 2026, or maybe you want to be a member, then you need to also rush to these facilities where the update is going to be taking place. And President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is also the party chairman, yesterday launched the exercise to update the NRM registrar as part of the ruling party's electoral roadmap, that is for 2026 elections. And speaking after the launch, Museveni said this exercise is good to know the number of supporters the party has. So I think this will also really maybe be very good, such that maybe when the time for election comes, questions, maybe queries of how many voters does NRM have, they rigged the elections, are going to be avoided. So I think this is quite good. And we must also commend the party chairman for that. And that's something also really we want to say is good, because it's a plus for the party. And President Museveni made these remarks yesterday, and I must say, Museveni noted that the work is now cut out, that is for the party leaders who have now a job to ensure they mobilize Ugandans to support the NRM party. And he said to ably do this, the party leaders must themselves be well versed with its principles. So that means if you are really going to also really spread the gospel of the NRM government, then you need to also understand what it is all about. So that is something that we are also talking about, and in relation to the roadmap, according to the NRM Electoral Commission chairperson, that is Tanga Odoi, the roadmap will begin with the display and update of the NRM register to be done, that is at every village in the country between March 13th and that is to 17th of 2024. And he noted that on March 17th, all villages will hold barazas where the NRM Village Executive Committee and Village Registrar will approve with the members, and members will have opportunity to verify whether those captured belong to the villages. And that is something also really we are saying. And if you have to really look at maybe how many villages we have in Uganda, that is as per the last captured UBOS report, you realize that Uganda has 72,000 villages, and really where NRM will have to move to all this. And really that is something I must say is quite good. And really we also expect maybe the other parties to also ensure that they start restructuring, that is maybe for 2026. And remember earlier on in the show we did have FDC, and they also told us their plans when it comes to preparations for the next elections. And Tanga said between March 19th and 2024, the party shall call for expression of interest and nominate candidates for the party structure at that is village and cells level, and between March 25th and 26th, and campaigns will be organized in every village. So I think that is something also that is good. And he noted that on March 17th, 2027, the party shall have, that is, polling and announcements of the party structures. So that is as far as that is concerned with the relation that is to the NM register that is being launched. And I must say it is something good. Really, we also to see that also really happens. And government wants new independent body in charge of Swahili. That is something that also we are seeing here. And the Ministry of Labour, Gender and Social Development has introduced the Uganda National Kiswahili Council Bill, that is 2023, which among others seeks to, that is establish an independent body in charge of promoting the language. So really, remember, during one of the actual amendments that came in with our curriculum is the aspect of Kiswahili, because we are now becoming, as East African community, that means that we shall need that one international language or one regional language that will be able to so ease communication. If you really look at Kiswahili, this is actually the language that could ease communication that is between the countries that belong to the East African bloc, and really look at the language, the countries of Tanzania and Kenya. you realize that they speak Kiswahili, and so many people actually speak the language. And you come to Uganda, you also realize that a number of people actually do understand this language, and more so those that travel. And this is a language that actually needs to also to be introduced in schools, such that it becomes the official language maybe of East African communities. And at the end of the day, we shall also really see to it that we become part of East African community, and that is also something that we also are yet following. And if passed into law, the bill which was now on Wednesday tabled by the Minister of State, that is for Disability Affairs, Helen Asamo, will establish that is a Kiswahili in the administrative, judicial, and legislative processes as a medium of communication and instruction in Uganda's educational institutions. And really that is quite good, because we also going to be seeing maybe it being used in Parliament, where those who cannot ably articulate in English may also now take it over to articulate their issues that is in Kiswahili. So that is quite good, because at times people do not understand English, because really they ask a bit of Kiswahili, and now it will be quite easy for one who does not know English for him or herself to address him or herself also in English or Kiswahili. So it will be good for those who actually understand the language, and to me this is going to ease communication. And really also we are going to be following up on that until maybe this is fully implemented. And equally, the Council will support and facilitate the institutions that undertake Kiswahili-related research and training by establishing networks and partnerships. And that is something also really we are yet following up. And some reveal that it is important to strengthen, that is the propagation of Kiswahili Uganda, to ease, that is communication and transition of business with the other East African countries within the bloc. And that is how they will also be using Kiswahili to also ease communication. And really this has also been known as a language for the business community, because you realize that most of the traders actually do understand this language, and you realize that most of the travelers also do understand it as well. And the army is actually very, very much known also for using the language. So I think prioritizing government, giving it a priority, will to me also be good there to see to it that we make it a national language. And at the end of the day, that would also really be quite good for us to also see we attain the language. And really once we adopt the language, I believe we are going to be seeing maybe an improvement in terms of communication, because communication has been very much a challenge. That is more so between, that is some of the leaders, more so within East African countries, where others speak Swahili, others speak, that is English. So I think introducing it right from primary level is the way to go, because I do understand some of the secondary schools already have that aspect of Kiswahili, where it is taught in some of the schools, and we have seen actually our learners performing in them this language. So I think also rolling it out up to the primary level is quite good. So I think at the end of the day, somebody who is able to learn English will also learn, but that is such that we are not left out. And for those who do not understand the language are not going to be left out, that is out of this language. So I think it is quite good and for us to also have this language that is incorporated in our curriculum, such that our learners are not left out. And that is it with the issue of Swahili, and we are yet going to be following up on that. And government bigwigs, Post-Bank meet over PDM Cash app, and really this is also something good, because at the end of the day, if this app is launched, really it is quite good, because really you wonder sometimes people lack access to information, and I believe this application that could be accessible maybe in people's phones can also be the way to go for them. For instance, those who have smartphones could have access to information that is about PDM. Also, they would also really maybe apply through the application. That would, at the end of the day, also really reduce the cases of fraudsters, because really you wonder sometimes fraudsters have really become fraudsters, and they are taking advantage of that is also taking and people who do not have access to this information, and these are the vulnerable poor who are within the villages, who are actually the main beneficiaries of the PDM cash, because it targets the vulnerable poor to also really find and get something for themselves so that they can uplift their livelihoods. But it becomes shocking when you see these people who access this money is also really just taking the money and misusing it like that. Really, it brings tears in our eyes, because we also want to see these monies being utilized properly, so that we do not continue to be, maybe also be put under the country, or maybe under the region that is known for poverty. So I think really, when these government efforts need not to be abused, we need to support them. And for those who actually access these monies, you need to put these monies into the right productive ventures. For instance, if you wrote a project maybe of, for instance, piggery, you need to invest that money into piggery. If you invested in poultry, you need to put that money into poultry. Maybe if you also invested other businesses in your proposal to actually seek this money, when you are seeking for this money, you need to abide by those proposals such that you are not left out. And I really want to say this meeting is quite good, and we expect this app to be rolled very soon, such that people who really need these monies cannot be left out. And that is it with that discussion about, that is the PDM and government top officials meeting about the launch of that application there. And I must say that is quite good, because at the end of the day, that is something that we want to see, and we want to, at the end of the day, also see people doing that. And Uganda races, again, it's time to meet SDG targets, and really we are also seeing this happening here. And Prime Minister Robin Nabanja has stressed that the need for availing innovative and financing mechanisms to accelerate the implementation of sustainable development goals ahead of the 2030 deadline is also on. Because if you look at the sustainable development goals, actually one of them is to eradicate poverty by 2030, and we're in 2024. How possible can this be? That is the question that you should ask yourself on an individual basis now. How far are you working towards elevating yourselves out of poverty before 2030, which is actually the deadline that is for meeting the SDG goals? And I must say, really, that is something that we then have to work towards, because actually this is something also we have to implement. Because if you are to really look at the SDGs, we are just left with about 6 years to the end of that is the timeline, because really government, the international body actually made these SDGs to see to that by 2030 some activities would actually be reduced, and one of them is actually ending HIV and also eradicating poverty, among others. There are about 8, really something I must say we have to also ensure that we work towards, because if we do not really uplift our livelihoods, then definitely we are going to be left out. And that is something also really we have to see. And with only 6 years left for the SDG 2030 agenda, it's imperative that we intensify our efforts and adopt that is innovative approaches to address the challenges that we face today. And that is what the Prime Minister said. And we really also have to ensure that that is also happening. And the dialogue held under the theme accelerating sustainable development goals through leveraging that is innovative financing, parish development model, and science and technology. That is something also really that where that meeting was held under. So I think that is one thing we also want to talk about, because this meeting organized under Office of the Prime Minister with United Development, that is program, abbreviated as the UNDP, and Makerere University, among other stakeholders, is one that aims so that government can attain the SDGs by 2030. But then the question we are asking ourselves, if you have to really look at the SIV status right now, the rates maybe, you realize that they're very high, and yet government and the international body had its dream and its goals by ending this by 2030. And you look at poverty, so many people are still in poverty, although government is trying through several of these government initiatives. For instance, the PDM, this is actually one initiative that government is putting towards also attaining, and then maybe also ensuring that people actually elevate themselves out of poverty, such that by 2030, there's nobody that is living beyond, that is below the poverty line. So I think this is something also really we need to work towards. And for those who have accessed this poverty PDM monies, and then definitely we have to ensure that we reverse these monies back, because this is a revolving fund, and which we need to have to pay back, so such that other people who have not actually got these monies may also really access this money, such that by 2030 we are all at the same level that is within, that is the money economy, such that nobody is left beyond that is below the poverty line. So I think that is something which is quite good, and really we have to also ensure that we work towards. And for the issue about the diseases, we can also really take the control measures, such that by 2030 there is nobody who is yet infected by the HIV virus that we are talking about, because it is part of the Sustainable Development Goals. So I think that is something that is also really quite good, and we also really have to maybe also share ideas about it here and there. If you have anything that maybe you also really feel that you need to also put forward, your comment is highly welcomed, and you can also really share it. And more so for those watching us via Facebook, you can drop it there, and for those watching us via YouTube, you can as well drop it there, and we shall be able to really read it that is clearly. So I think that is one thing we will summarize that discussion about, that is the Prime Minister engaging about the Sustainable Development Goals on. And really we also want to say that is something that we also have to ensure that we work towards, because if you have to really look at the Sustainable Development Goals, you realize that their dreams are actually good. And this is actually something that was done a long period of time, and 2030 actually we are now reaching towards a period, these international conferences actually that was held, had its plans, that is for the Sustainable Development Goals towards. and that is also something that we would like to summarize our discussion with. And Uganda Manufacturers Association and Kampala Traders Association, abbreviated as KASITA, have warned about the severe economic implications, that is, of Alcoholic Control Bill 2023, urging that millions of jobs are at risk with this bill. And according to them, the bill is an attack on thousands of Ugandans who are employed in the alcohol sector, both directly and indirectly, and hence affecting over 300 households. So I think for those who actually love taking beer or maybe other drinks, that is where the bill could actually have an implication. And while interacting with Parliament's Committee on Health and Trade that is scrutinizing the bill, he said it will also affect the whole value chain, that is from the farmer who plants the barley and then rears chicken and rear goats, that is the manufacturer in the business, and the employee of the factory to the school-going child who will have school fees. So I think this is also something you're seeing, and according to statistics from the Uganda Bar Owners Association, there are expectedly 50,000 bars in the country, implying that approximately 150,000 Ugandans benefit directly from these bars near the bars. And there is also Muchomo, or chapati making gentleman, who makes livelihood totaling to, that is, about 150 Ugandans, and all this might be left out because of the time prohibition proposed in the bill. So I think that is something also we are yet following up on. And the provision, according to Alan Sendiowa, Director of Policy at UMA, a time restriction that is required that manufacturers set multiple facilities to ensure other value chain players effectively be served. And according to this bill that really we are seeing, that could also really be raising questions to these authorities. You are not going to be allowed to drink from a certain period of time. There's a time limit where you are going to be drinking. For instance, if you are to take alcohol, maybe go to these bars, it will have to be maybe from 6 p.m. up to, let's say, 8. And that is it. And after that, you have to move maybe home, and you are not allowed to take beer. Or maybe a certain period of time, which I'm not conversant yet of. And really, I must say that at the end of the day will also have an implication on you. And really, with that, we come to a closer of this first quarter of the second hour, and we are yet running for a short commercial break. And when we bounce back, we are still having more, and you need not to touch that dial as we bounce back shortly. For now, it's a short commercial break.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko live show, but we're already in the evening of the show. That is for today, I must say. We are just remaining with some few minutes so that we can also pave way for the Eolaza news team, that is with Fete Emmanuel, together with the rest of the team also to come and give you what is happening in the world of Eolaza, that is the news bulletin. Lubarati, and remember at midday we shall also be having the Lembangia news bulletin with the Chaki piece, and the sisters and the rest of the team also to really also give you what is happening, that is in the Aluru language, and that is one reason also you need not to miss the show, because at the end of the day you will have access to the language, that is news in the language that you best understand, and that only happens here on West Nile Television, and it is one reason you need not to miss the show. And remember, now we are just remaining with very few minutes. As we are remaining also with the very few minutes, we still have lots more to discuss with you, and the Supreme Court has issued directives to the parties. That is in the case challenging a court, that's a resolution that removed lawmaker Francis Zake from office as a commissioner of parliament in March, that is 2022. And that is something we are seeing lawmakers representing Zake, and really the Attorney General, the lawyers representing Zake and the Attorney General, that is Justice Percy Knight twice directed that documents in that directed the Attorney General to file documents in court. That is really also thereafter will be that they will be using to inform on the later date in which they return to court to make oral highlights before a panel of 7 justices. So I think that is also something we are following up on. And the Constitutional Court on September 28th of 2023 quashed the parliamentary resolution that removed Zake from office, citing lack of at least 1/2 of all voting members of parliament as the requisite quorum. That is something also we are seeing here, and court ruled that Parliament had acted contrary to its rules of procedure. And are we going to be seeing Zake reinstated back as the commissioner? That is something also really I do not know as we continue following up on this. And really, the then Deputy Speaker acted as a judge, that is in her own cause, when she continued chairing Parliament in a matter in which she had personal interest. The resultant proceedings contravened or were inconsistent with Articles 2, subsection 1, and Article 2 and Article 8A, 28, 42, and 44C of the Constitution, and we are null and void. That is ab initio held. That is according to information from Justice Irene Mulia-Gonja in the late judgment. So I think we are yet following up on that. And really, we want to also continue following up on that discussion, really also for you to be aware of what is happening in the world of current affairs. And now to summarize the discussion with sports, and really sports is also something that we cannot exclude out, as we intend to really also talk about that. But really, before you get into sports updates, and I must say so many things are yet happening in the region, really also so many things where people are asking also questions about the rampant road accidents, where we also see our leaders, more so those that are in Moyo district, also raising this question, asking why government is not really also working towards also these issues about the road accidents. And remember, we have had rampant road accidents, some which have actually been attributed to that is the road nature of which we have, and then others also the recklessness among the members of public. And I must say most of these accidents are actually related, but the border related, where you're seeing at least there's an involvement of a border somewhere, either a border is being rammed into, or else a border is actually the one ramming into, that is these cars. And then if it is not that, then maybe this vehicle was that is attempting to also really dodge the borders, and that is why we are seeing accidents so many often. And recently, the Uganda Police crime report for 2023 was released, where we did see also high numbers of accidents being registered. And I must say most of this actually happen on our roads. And that now calls for one thing, that is one thing that is also being very, very serious on these roads, where we have to be very, very vigilant and also mindful of the other road users. So maybe as an operator of a machine, take it a bicycle or motorcycle or a vehicle, you need to also be mindful of the other road users. So I think when we're driving on these roads, we need not to overspeed, we need not to drive under the influence of alcohol, and we also need to desist from tendencies of driving vehicles that are not fit to be on these roads. And I mean the DMCs, the dangerous mechanical condition vehicles. We need to ensure that maybe they are first repaired or they are put off roads. So I think such that we do not also really engage in accidents, maybe from where we are seeing cases of brake failure, we are seeing cases of maybe tire faults, So I think all this have been contributing to the accident rates that we are witnessing in this country. So I think that is also one we have to then summarize that discussion with as we head for sports. And remember, as we are heading closer to the weekend, this is where we start witnessing sports activities very, very much rampant. And yesterday, that is where we did also see appointment of that is Fabio Borini as that is an assistant to actually Samson Sizokuti, and he will be heading to Onduparaka Football Club. And I must say, as Onduparaka is supposed to play, that is today on the 29th of that is February. Which is actually the last day of the month, they will be able to have their game against Chinda Boys. And really, Borini Fabio has now been appointed, and he will be able to work together with other counterparts with whom he actually worked before, and the likes of Sizo Kuti and other members of the technical department to spearhead, that is, in the affairs of the FIFA Big League side on the Onduparaka Football Club, so that maybe at the end of the day they can also really bounce back when it comes to the next year, because right now we do have most of our teams that is under FIFA Big League. As Western Sub-Region, we do not have a team that is playing currently that is at the top tier of Uganda football, that is the Uganda Premier League. So I think with the addition of Borini, that who has formerly been with Arua Hill, we are going to also see his attainment and maybe experience that is from the other clubs that he has worked with. For instance, Arua Hill Sports Club, where he has been, we are maybe going to see this happening. And remember, he also joins you will be able to also work with familiar faces with whom he has ever worked before. And these are maybe the players, also maybe also the technical staff. I did mention that is Caesar Samson Okuti. He will be able to work with him. So I think this is quite good. And at the end of the day, we also really want to see the results. And as Onduparaka Football Club still continues, that is to struggle when it comes to winning away games. Are we going to see the addition? Because with Arua Hill, we did see them actually picking points. That is together with his that is head coach, that is Livingston Babazi, picking points on away. That is when Arua Hill was playing, and we expect maybe the same experience from where he has learnt a lot, maybe also to be brought, that is to the FIFA Big League with the Onduparaka Football Club. And now, yesterday in the Startimes Uganda Premier League, we also did have a game that was between NEC Football Club and KCC, and I must say the game ended, that is a 3-0. That is in favor of KCCA. That is, KCC actually went on to score the 3 goals, and one of the goals was actually 2 goals were actually scored by our own. That is Muhammad Shaban, who is from Western. And I must say this is quite good, and really NEC and KCCA both play. That is at the Lugogo Startimes Premier, that is at Lugogo Startimes Stadium, which is actually home to KCCA and home to NEC, and both of them actually play here. So I think it was not an away, maybe it was an away from it was a game that is said to be away from home. So I think it is quite good, where we did see the display at night, and I must say this was something that we want to see, and really maybe we will be able to sort of have night games on Onduparaka Stadium here, and that will be quite good, because after work you move and you know that you are going to watch games to refresh your brain. And today we also be having a game that is between Maroons and URA, and that is also another game that will be taking place, that is the Startimes Uganda Premier League. And not forgetting Gaddafi, who will be able to take on that is Jinja SS, which is now Busoga United, that is in that Busoga derby there. And we are also going to be seeing this because all these teams come from that is Busoga sub-region, and that is as far as that lineage of maybe what is happening to Uganda Premier League is concerned. And now in the English Premier, in the away from Africa, in Europe, where we did also see the FA Round Cup 5 games going on, where we did see Chelsea beating Leeds 3-2, and Manchester United going on to beat Nottingham Forest, that is 1-0, and also Brighton playing with the Wolves and losing 1-0 there to Brighton, and Liverpool also did go on to beat Southampton 3-0, and that is as far as the world of sports is concerned. And really we want to summarize that discussion with, and remember in the first hour we did discuss a lot of issues in relation to the Forum for Democratic Change. I hope you did have a wonderful time, where the FDC supervisor of elections was actually here to tell us as far as they are prepared, that is in terms of 2026. And remember, the FDC has actually been going a lot of turmoil. That is where we have also seen 2 blocks being formed. That is the Najana Nkumbi and Katonga blocks actually rising there. And he actually did say the only legitimate group is actually the Najana Nkumbi block, which is actually also known to be the headquarters That is for the party that once enjoyed being the main opposition party in the country until that is 2021 general election, where this pride was taken off. That is by the National Unity Platform, where we did see most of the opposition members coming from that party there. And the question now we are asking ourselves, maybe the party should also be asking themselves as well, is how prepared and how are they restructuring, that is in terms of 2026, and really that is where we want to also summarize that discussion. We remember we also talk about the airport, where I did tell you it is going to be developed into an international airport, and efforts are already underway, and an MOU has already been signed, and that is by the Minister of Transport and Minister of Works and Transport, and we also going to be seeing maybe at the end of the day that development. And we also did talk about the story of a 21-year-old youth who actually was arrested for attempting to dupe, that is the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and really this is quite shocking. You wonder where somebody gets the guts and moves into Parliament to disguise as a daughter maybe to a member of Parliament or an MP, just because they want to dupe or find themselves something that they want to do, and that is quite shocking. And really with that we come to a closer of today's discussion, as we also want to pave way for the AOL News team, that is with Feta Emmanuel together with Mukulia Lawrence, also to give you what is happening in the world of news. And really with that, it is a great pleasure, and I do very, very much appreciate you from wherever you chose to watch us from. I say asante sana, and let us catch up again until tomorrow. That is for the last edition of the Kokoliriko live show for this week. My name is Farish Majid. I wish you a very, very good day. Thank you.